Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 360 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live from YouTube as always. And the first comment goes to Rich. Thank you very much for tuning in, sir, who says hi. And I need to clear my throat. I don't know what's the matter with me today, but hopefully I'll be able to do smelling better than I can do the speaking today. Zenobi's here as well, saying hello from Germany. Nice to be here. Keith says, wishing everyone a great day from Canada. DJ is here as well. So is Tripty saying, greetings from a rainy and chilly South Carolina. Icky weather, but ideal for a Persolaise binge session. Thank you very much. And we've got a few people wishing each other happy Easter as well. So to all of you who celebrated, a very, very happy Easter for tomorrow. I was going to say don't overeat the chocolate, but actually that is the point. You are meant to overeat the chocolate, aren't you? Hope you're all well. Rachel is here too. Please keep the comments and the questions coming. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. What have we got for you today? Well, another kind of, feature-length episode, probably in the region of about an hour long. What's Gavin saying? Look at those crowns. Who doesn't love an Oxford Street souvenir shop style stopper? Door stopper. He is, of course, referring to these, and I think we'd better start with these because I kind of want to get them out of the way. But I've got a few new and newish things to smell with you. We've got something new from Maison Crivelli, and also a whole new brand. I've got just a brand's discovery set. There are 4 in here. It's a brand called L'Objet, which doesn't do just perfumes. They're a sort of lifestyle brand. Apparently, they've been around for a little while. And these are their 4 eau de parfum, all of which have been made by Yann Vasnier. And I haven't smelled them at all, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to discover them with you together. But I think we need to turn our attention to these beautiful creations here from Dolce & Gabbana. Many of you will be familiar with this handsome chap. This is, of course, Dolce & Gabbana K. K stands for King. And the EDT of this came out in 2019, which was then followed in 2020 by the eau de parfum. And the reason why we're talking about it now is because the brand have just launched Q, which is the kind of queen counterpart to the king. And this one, I think, is by Daphne Bugey, and K is by Daphne Bugey and Nathalie Lorson. And the reason why I'm kind of taking a deep breath is because, well, I'll be very, very curious to see what they're like. If I did smell K, it must have been a few years ago, and for whatever reason, my mind has relegated it to, thank you very much, Rich. I wore Buy this week, overrated. I don't get that. What's Buy this? Is that one of the Objet ones? No, it's not, because I don't know what their names are. I wore BY this week. I don't know what you mean by that one, Rich. But anyway, whatever it was overrated. Yeah, Gavin's reading me correctly. The body language says, but I don't want to. It's because I worry about this, and I'm, I don't want to. I want to try and keep an open mind, as open a mind as possible. But yeah, I think we just need to go for it, and we need to start by reminding ourselves of K. I can hardly wait for the parfum and then the elixir, says Keith. Yeah. Let's just do this, okay? I genuinely can't. I have a feeling this was one of those, very, very generically woody, ambery, fake, citrusy things. Just shut up and spray, Persolaise. Okay, here we go. This is the K EDP from Dolce & Gabbana, which we're doing as a kind of preamble. Oh, sorry, Rich. You meant the fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana. Yeah, I was being very, very slow. Okay, so K EDP. It's kind of, it's almost like a sort of Pavlovian response, isn't it? Where as soon as you see certain bottles, that's why my body language was way ahead of me there. Think about tomorrow's chocolate. Just think about tomorrow's chocolate. Okay. Well, I don't need to concentrate on this one because, of course, the new one that we're mainly talking about today is Q, which I'm sure is going to be so much better. Well, it couldn't get much worse. So yes, my memory sadly was correct. And it looks like Persolaise hates showers, says Dev. Who has a shower that smells like... Sorry, I shouldn't be rude, but my showers do not smell like this. A masterpiece of the decade, judging from the facial expression, says Space Down. This is absolutely in the kind of, Versace Eros camp of those horribly generic, trying to be clean and yet being so stripped super clean that they almost kind of come out the other end and start smelling really body odory, unpalatable, unpleasant. And it's almost like there's no point talking about these sorts of scents anymore, and then there's almost no point rubbishing them because they're a very easy target. I mean, they are such an easy target. It would be very easy for me to just sit here for 5 minutes and come up with all sorts of analogies as to how awful they are. But even those analogies probably wouldn't capture how awful and mindless this really is. And so I think really we just need to move on and give them as little of the oxygen of publicity as possible, and hope that maybe the day is coming that people are going to stop buying this dreck so that the brands stop making it. Okay, so I guess things, this does not bode well for Q. We have a press release, people. This is the beautiful crown that goes with Q. So yeah, let's see. I'm guessing this is basically just going to be, also judging from the color of the juice, I'm guessing it's just going to be a huge, great, big, sugary patchouli bomb. Let's find out. Okay, well, that's a surprise because it actually starts off really quite quiet and delicate. Or has my nose been bludgeoned into submission by the K? It actually seems to start with a kind of note of red berries. It may well end up going in a very sweet vanillic direction, but it does not immediately hit you over the head with icing sugar and candy floss and bubble gum, which is maybe not maybe, it is surprising. It is surprising. With that ever so classy, not in any way, shape, or form related to Joe and Colin's crown at the top, and that juice color, I was expecting to be thrown into a vat of the fakest, sickliest vat of caramel stirred by Haribo bears. But it's not that. It's not especially distinctive, but I didn't think it would be red berries, red currants, mimosa, freesia. I did not think we would be getting that. After the top notes, it gets more generic, says Mateusz. Well, I'm not surprised to hear you say that. Let's just label it and let's look at the... so it doesn't smell girly pink, says Dev. No, it doesn't actually. It doesn't. Let's see. Let's see what the press release has got to say. But seriously, those men's ones, who? People must still be buying this kind of stuff because, the EDT came out in 2019 and it clearly did well enough for them to release the EDP in 2020, and that clearly did well enough for them to think that 2023 would be a good time to be releasing the women's version. I don't understand. I don't understand anyway, or maybe I do understand. Maybe, oh no, but that's going to start sounding too judgy and judging. Anyway, shut up. Read. Okay, Dolce & Gabbana, twice the energy, double the power. Introducing Q by Dolce & Gabbana. I feel that there should be a James Bond reference in here somewhere. Anyway, passion, power, strength. This is Q by Dolce & Gabbana. I noticed there are no spaces now in between Dolce & Gabbana, so it's like one word. Maybe I'm supposed to say Dolce & Gabbana. Understanding that the energy that comes from a powerful individual is doubled when that person meets a like-minded soul. The new female fragrance joins K by Dolce & Gabbana with a campaign honoring the unstoppable power of two. Until they need marriage counseling, right? This is not just an ode. Okay, this is not just an ode to romantic relationships. It's an ode to crucial friendships, partnerships, and pairings. Because when two strong energies unite, they are invincible together. As Dolce & Gabbana enters a new era of beauty, does it? Why? The new concept explores the electric potential of a power couple, celebrating the strength of exceptional individuals and the limitless possibilities as they come together. Sorry, you can tell where my mind was going. The campaign hopes to ignite creativity and uninhibited self-expression by encouraging wearers to discover the person who re-energizes them most. Well, it's not going to be the person wearing K. To all the kings and queens out there, this is your calling to unite, to fuel each other's energy and charge ahead. What is this actually about? As Aria says, a power couple who works in management consulting. Okay, continuing to bring the gift of Italian beauty to the rest of the world, K and Q by Dolce & Gabbana are made exclusively in Italy. Really? I bet they're not. Anyway, the craftsmanship and attention to detail that forms the backbone of the sensual sense are inherent to the Dolce & Gabbana DNA. Q is a signature fragrance for a powerful individual, a woman who shares herself with those who... Oh, I need to calm down now. A woman who shares herself with those who bring her deeper energy and embolden her distinctive heart. The scent shares commonalities with K. Well, it wouldn't share differences now, would it? Sorry, with K by Dolce & Gabbana, which embodies the spirit of a man who chooses his destiny, a king of the everyday. Prepare for sparks to fly, etc., etc. Let's just see what it says about Q. I'm just looking at some of the... Somebody saying she shares herself means she's an organ donor. You need to stop, because I could very, very easily go hysterical today. Anyway, Q. In the single-minded pursuit of her reign, a modern queen's head is only turned by a worthy match. A scent to match her might, Q by Dolce & Gabbana, was crafted by perfumer Daphne Bugey and created in Italy using only the highest quality raw materials selected according to the fine fragrance criteria. But they couldn't find it. Anyway, the woody, fruity eau de parfum sparks new possibilities. It sparks new possibilities. Yeah, maybe not. By opening with the quintessentially Italian and tart Sicilian lemon, revealed alongside luminous blood orange and glowing jasmine petals. Quick, get them away from Mr. Burns's nuclear power plant. A stunning contrast between the fresh and addictive zesty lemon is delivered by the delicious crunchiness of an irresistible scarlet red cherry at the heart. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Tangy and sweet at the same time. These notes contrast perfectly while being complemented by creamy heliotrope. Okay, so that could be the sort of mimosa-ish thing I was getting. An addictive dry down, of course it is. Shares commonalities with K by Dolce & Gabbana, with both scents built on vibrant cedarwood, sophisticated crystal moss, and mellow musk. Also at the base, reinforce a sense of self-confidence that reminds this exceptional woman she is a queen. No, I'm not going to say it. The cap design, introduced with the launch of K, is reimagined for Q. There's a radical concept. You had a man's crown, so you decided to go for a... Well, that's a little bit duh, isn't it? It features a regal gold crown in a cherry red tone, inspired by the heart note of the fragrance. The scent is encased in a heavy glass bottle to add a touch of modernity, while the daring red box, I don't have the daring red box, adorned with a gold crown, highlights the bold facets of the fragrance. The bottle and packaging are emblazoned with the unmistakable Dolce & Gabbana logo. And I don't really think we need to read to you about K. There's a little bit there's a little bit about the ad campaign, but I don't think we need to read about that. Oh gosh. Okay, so when she's done sharing herself, and when he's done with being part of a, I don't know. Let's just smell the. Oh, this is K now. No, I just can't. I cannot do those sorts of scents. And the women's one, okay. The women's one unquestionably is better, more interesting, less generic than the men's one. Mateusz told us that it becomes more generic as it goes along. Fosco says right-click on synonyms. Yes, there was a little bit of like, let's just go to thesaurus.com and go get as many words as possible. But it's again, it's not anything terribly interesting. Oh, I have made it to the end of that press release. Let's hope for something better with, because I want to save the Crivelli for the end. I have had an initial sniff of this, and it was a very, very positive initial sniff. So I thought I would share the sort of grand unveiling with you. Gavin says K and Q sound like a code drug dealers use for their texts. Yeah, possibly. And Nick says would love to see a review of the new Maison Crivelli Oud Maracuya. That will be coming soon. And I noticed somebody else also said that they were hoping this would be the review of the new Guerlain Abbey Rouge flanker called Rouge Privé. That hopefully will be coming soon. But I have had a very, very quick sort of sniff and wearing of it, and I was really, really taken with it. As an Abbey Rouge flanker, it's really interesting. And Madame Persolaise gave it the sort of swooning thumbs up as well. Anyway, let's move on to something that hopefully will be a bit more interesting. As I said, Discovery Set from L'Objet, which is a brand that, let me see what I can find out about it for you here. I think they do well, yes, exactly. Crockery, homeware, objects for the house, home fragrances. And now they have gone into these eau de parfum made by Yann Vasnier, and there are 4. There's one called Oh Mon Dieu. Okay. Then there's Bois Sauvage, Coté Maquis, and Rose Noir. And I think we should try smelling all 4 of them, see what they're like. People are still commenting on the D&Gs. I'm always interested in anything that Yann Vasnier has for us, but which to start with? I wonder if I should start with Rose Noir, just because from its name, that's the one that sounds as though it might be the most predictable, maybe the most generic. I don't know. So we could turn out to be wrong. Always very interesting exploring and finding out about a new brand with you. Okay. So this is Rose Noir from L'Objet. I have got not really a press release, just a very, very basic blurb on each one. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, it's not doing the forehead thing that Kay did on me just now. It's it smells like it's pretty much going to be a well-made, but we've been here before, we've tried it before, green rosy patchouli. I'm getting shades of that kind of slightly dangerous thorn-bearing earthiness from Frederic Malle's Une Rose, which is now called what? Rose Tonnerre, the Edouard Flechier rose. And yeah, it's not doing anything unexpected, unusual, but it is doing the rose patchouli thing very, very well. There is something very, very, very deeply scarlet about it, which is heading into kind of nocturnal territory. So I suppose it justifies the noir tag. But I saw somebody saying just now, Gavin says, Rose Noir, how many perfumes now have variations on that name? Didn't you do one last week? I may well have done. I can't remember. The brand says that this is a velvety mix of exotic roses, delicately contrasted by Ceylon tea. Okay. I mean, see how it develops, but it's absolutely fine. Nothing earth-shattering at all. I think I want to save Oh Mon Dieu for the end, because that's the one that's the hardest to work out. Let's do Bois Sauvage, because I must confess with that one as well, when I saw the name, I did think, okay, so is this going to be the kind of crowd-pleasing woody amber thing? You know, when you stick Sauvage in a perfume name, not only, of course, are you referencing Eau Sauvage, but now Dior's own Sauvage as well. Putting the idea of savage woods is also a little bit cliched now. So let's see. Why are people talking about busy weekends? Anyway, so this is Bois Sauvage from L'Objet. Oh, now that's more interesting, because I wonder if it is a kind of conscious nod to Eau Sauvage, because at least at this first sniff, it feels like a sort of almost absinthe-like green, woody jasmine. That's quite intriguing. That's quite intriguing, because there is something gently, delicately white floral about it. You know, the sort of very, very clean facets of white florals that you get when you use something like Hedione. But something kind of bitter in the it's almost like a sort of wormwood feel coming through. That's intriguing. And again, all I have for this is a blurb: a walk on a wet forest floor with notes of wild Italian bergamot, tobacco, jasmine, and spice. And yes, there is a kind of mossy feeling thing to it. It says wild Italian bergamot, but I swear there's something bitter and absinthe-like going on here. This is interesting. This is interesting. And somehow very Yann Vasnier. His particular talent seems to be in really putting unexpected twists onto things we think we've smelt before. And some people attribute this to the fact that his background isn't a kind of traditional French perfumery background, in the sense that he doesn't come from the south of France. I think he may be from Normandy or Brittany. And so just because of his own personal cultural heritage and his own background and biography, he's bound to smell things in a slightly different way. This one is compelling because there's almost a mintiness to it as well that's very, very, very bracing, and yet odd too. It's like Count Dracula's about to seduce you, but he's made sure he's brushed his teeth first. That's interesting. That's interesting. Alcoholic Nun says, if memory serves correctly, he is the one who created Toy Boy for Moschino. Absolutely, and lots of other great things as well. He's a very, very talented perfumer. Okay, now let's go to the Coté Maquis, which, in terms of a geographic reference, if it is a geographic reference, means nothing to me at all. Oh, Gavin says, L'Objet doing Oh Mon Dieu number 69 incense stick with a lipstick kiss on the box. Excuse me while I roll my eyes. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm saving that one for last. But this is the Coté Maquis. And by the way, I don't think these are especially cheap. I'm looking at their website at the moment, and at least in the UK, for 50 mils, they are £135. But somebody left a comment, you know, a few years ago, I did a video on the top 10 Chanel scents or top 5 Chanel scents, and somebody left a comment just the other day to say that the exclusives in the UK have suddenly had a massive price hike, you know, something like £300 to £350 for the 200 mils, which, you know, in terms of a percentage increase is ridiculous. It's massive. But anyway, this is Coté Maquis. Ooh, incense. Okay. I was not expecting that. Maybe I should have been expecting that with that name check. Very, very flinty, very mineralic, gently smoky, but doesn't immediately grab the heart. You know, when I think of a few weeks ago when I tried the Fabrice Pellegrin Adorem scent that he did for Nate, that really, really just straight away went in there. Such a fantastically rendered incense. This one, I guess, is a lot safer. Rachel says, Mr. P, being a lifestyle brand, do you find the compositions minimalistic? Well, I don't know about minimalistic because there seems to be a fair amount happening, at least in that Bois Sauvage, but restrained, I think. You know, not ones that are announcing their presence in an especially ostentatious way. I mean, it's perfectly nice incense, this one, but I don't see myself thinking, oh God, you know, need to start saving up for a full bottle. What's the blurb we have for this one? Notes of salty air infused with the earthiness of incense, cashmere wood, and lifted by a warm golden labdanum. And yes, actually, the cashmere is coming across quite strongly as well. This one perhaps is a little bit more familiar. So before I spray the last one and before we move on to the Maison Crivelli, as we're nearly at the half-hour mark, I should say that if you're enjoying this video, please, please, please consider giving it a thumbs up because that really, really helps a lot. It genuinely does help the YouTube algorithm to start spreading the word and showing other people who may be interested in the video, start, you know, showing it up in their streams. And also, if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to find a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. Thank you very much. I can see the likes going up straight away. So let's do the Oh Mon Dieu. Let me just label the blotter very, very quickly. And this one, I have no idea why it's even called that or whether that... Oh, come on. I find these particular vials, a lot of brands use them, but they seem to kind of like seize up and you have to really, really spray lots and lots to get the liquid to start pumping up through them. Rachel says, interested in trying this brand. Good, good. Well, I'm glad if it's sparked some interest. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is somebody already said, was it you, Gavin, that said that there's a kind of lipstick graphic on the packaging for the incense? This is a kind of cheeky violet and rose lipsticky fragrance. Well done, actually, nicely done. Quite retro in its kind of makeup, you know, maybe sort of rice powder, irisy sort of feel. The benchmark for this sort of scent, I think, for me, remains Lipstick Rose for Frederic Malle. Because not only does it do that violet rose lipstick accord extremely well, but it also somehow has a sense of humor about it. It's just so endearingly facetious and cheeky. And there are some other perfumes that do it pretty well too, but that one, nothing has topped that so far. I don't think this one is going to steal its crown, but it's fun. It's fun. It puts a smile on your face. It's convincingly crimson violet, almost kind of sort of electrically colored, neon-like, and it's got some sass to it. It's got that kind of strutty, sassy feel to it. And I think it would be the most fascinating sort of thing for a guy to wear, you know, because I think perfume is so brilliant, perhaps even more effective than clothes at really playing with gender codes and surprising people, because there's a nice kind of woodiness here too, that would kind of make it okay for a guy, and then these other things happening at the top. Cloudy says, I've only ever tried the Juliet Has a Gun lipstick perfume. Now that was Lipstick Fever, wasn't it? And all I can say is it certainly smells exactly like lipstick, and I'm not sure what the appeal is. Your body language says this is a cheeky little number, says Gavin. Yes, it is. It is a cheeky little number, but I don't have any. Oh, I do have a little bit more to read about this one. A paragraph. Paris, 1969, the artistic and sexual revolution. Okay. The air was bohemian, wild, and undeniably sexy. Women were as bold as their lipstick color, flaunting their freedom, style, and powers of seduction. Oh mon Dieu, a sensual pairing of cognac and lipstick notes with undertones of incense, leather, and caramel. Cognac, I must confess, I did not get. But yeah, if they're saying it, then maybe that's what I was thinking about, the woodiness. It works. It works. Let's have a very, very quick sniff of all of them again. So this is the Rose Noir. Yeah, I think Rose Noir is trying to play the Arabian card, and it's fine. But we've had, what's interesting is that, was it in two of them, I mentally started making references to Frederic Malle. Maybe they're kind of modeling themselves in terms of quality on Frederic Malle, which of course is a good model to follow. Bois Sauvage came next. Yeah, and it's very dry now, very, very dry. That could be because I've been smelling the lipstick accord from but Bois Sauvage, I think, has got most of my attention at the moment. Then the Coast, the incense one, sort of mineralic saline incense, which again is fine. We've had that one done better before. And again, the Mon Dieu, which is cute. Okay, so interesting. Certainly not a single one of them made me wrinkle my nose, and two of them are interesting and intriguing. So there you go. Perhaps you heard it here first. I don't know whether you did. I don't know if where you live the Discovery set is available to order, but probably well worth checking out. Okay. What are people saying? I love the smell of lipstick, dense and waxy iris, says Lindsay, wearing Dancing with Strangers from 4160 Tuesdays Now. Alcoholic Nun says, Arabian-style roses do seem to be the scent du jour right now. No complaints here, fine. And Gavin says, the Mon Dieu seemed to be the one you liked best. Well, maybe the body language was saying that, but I think the one that I found most interesting was the Bois Sauvage. Let's move on to the final one for today then. Neroli Nasimba from Maison Crivelli. And Crivelli is a brand, actually, let's do the unsealing first. So apologies for the noise. Crivelli is a brand that I think a lot of you out there like a little bit more than I do. I have been a bit more impressed than I have been. Maybe I need to give it a little bit more time, but there are some of their scents that I do like. Like I seem to remember liking the Osmanthus, I think, and the Iris. I would really like to get the founder on this channel for an interview. I've never met him, Thibaut Crivelli. He is, by all accounts, a very, very nice person and very, very articulate when it comes to talking about his brand. There's the bottle, by the way, Neroli Nasimba. But who's just come on and said, it's Sharon saying, I may be in the minority, but I found Maison Crivelli to have more misses than hits. And maybe that's what I thought as well. Maybe the whole thing of centering each perfume name very, very obviously around a material just feels like a sort of style that we should have moved away from by now. But there are a lot of fans out there. So, for instance, was it last year or 2 years ago that they released Ombre Chromatique, which so many people really, really loved, with several people saying that they thought it was like the best amber perfume they ever tried. Rachel says people seem to love this brand. Yes, they do. But maybe the fact that the scents are not wishy-washy is actually what has made the brand a success. And, you know, I keep going on and on about how I think brands should dare to create more polarizing pieces of work. And maybe that is what this brand is doing. And perhaps it just so happens that a lot of the stuff that they're making is kind of polarizing me to the end of the scale where I'm maybe not as fond of the scents as they would like me to be, but that's okay. Like, you know, to go back to the cue that we smelt at the beginning of the broadcast, I'm sure I will have forgotten this in about 5 minutes. It's pleasant, you know, it's a lot better than the K, as I said, but it's eminently forgettable. Whereas the Crivelli's spark a more powerful response, and I think that is the way to go. And there are plenty of people out there who like them. Woozy says Ambre Chromatique is an Akigala wood bomb. And was it not made by Quentin Biche? It may well have been made by him. Sharon says, with Maison Crivelli, the heavy use of certain woody synthetics just didn't work for me. Pradeep says, I thought their patchouli, that was patchouli magnetic, was decent, and I think that's a Quentin Biche one as well. You can smell them over the top notes, says DJ, who agrees with Sharon. But then S. Umar says, I've only liked the hibiscus mahajad so far. So you see, it's interesting. You all seem to have one that you rate and others that maybe repel you a little bit. And that's probably a good thing. Anyway, this one, Gavin says, is Nasimba a portmanteau of Nala and Simba from The Lion King? I have no idea. I certainly hope not. This one was one that did have my name written all over it when I first smelt it. And what's interesting as well is that it's made by Paul Guerlain, the IFF perfumer, who I believe is Jean-Paul Guerlain's grandson. He is starting to make more and more of a name for himself. And I think this may be the most high-profile scent he has signed so far. So watch this space. You know, who knows what plans are in store for him. I think he's still very, very young, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of decades he may be you know, at Guerlain, and there'll be a Guerlain as a perfumer at the brand again. So this is Neroli Nasimba from Crivelli. Yeah. Okay, so I'm taken back straight away to when I first smelt it, because what's interesting is that at the beginning you get a note that is unquestionably neroli and orange blossom. So you get that quintessentially indolic and yet somehow gentle orange blossomy feel. And yet it feels as though every single ounce of sweetness has been completely stripped away from it. And you immediately can tell that it's actually going to go into the realms of a very, 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 very dry leather. And then the reference to African territories in the name becomes obvious, or comprehensible, understandable, because you realize that actually you're in the middle of a parched desert with very, 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 you know, sort of beautiful camel-colored sand and the sun beating down, and yet somehow, even though everything around you is leathery, and you know, dry and parched and thirsty, there is still this feel of something floral, slightly indolic in the air. It's a really, really curious image. And it made me think, it's making me think of it again now. It made me think of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. Not that they smell similar, but they have an interesting kind of similarity in their style. Now, Tom Ford Tuscan leather goes back to the style of things like Canige 10, where it takes a very, very traditional classical leather heart, but places something tart and fruity and almost a little bit vulgar at the top. So in the case of Canige 10, it's like a sort of strawberry note. Same with Tuscan leather, a kind of strawberry raspberry note that works so brilliantly with the tanginess of the leather. The structure here is similar, but they've decided to go with neroli, with orange blossom, and tie that to the leather. And it's somehow both unsettling and comforting and familiar and surprising at the same time. I was really, really taken with it, and I shall look forward to giving it a proper wearing. Now, There is a press release that goes with it, but it's very long. I haven't looked at it. I don't plan to read all of it to you. No, wrong app. But let's see what I can share with you from it. So it starts off with Maison Crivelli presents its new eau de parfum, Neroli Nasimba, developed in partnership with perfumer Paul Guerlain. For this latest opus, Thibaut Crivelli was inspired by his experience of discovering orange blossoms during a walking safari. Okay, so he actually found some orange blossoms. Neroli Nasimba revisits this classic ingredient in high perfumery, contrasting the luminosity of orange blossom essential oil with the character of supple leather. And there's a little... Is it a poem? I suppose it's a kind of prose poem. It's not a haiku, but anyway, let's read it. 4:30 a.m. Tangerine awakening, orange savannah. Step by step, pink dust, acacia shadow, tawny wood, a distant roar, slender stripes, spotted leather, feline Neroli. And feline, okay, I don't get anything especially feline here, but desert-like Neroli. Is there an adjective in English for desert-like? I find it really, really compelling. And oh gosh, and it says that it is concentrated at 18%, and that makes it an eau de parfum, and they call it a floral leather containing mandarin, cardamom, pink peppercorn, orange blossom absolute, neroli, petit grain, leather, and vetiver. And it's got a little blurb here saying the perfumer's secret, orange blossom absolute, which enhances the floral note and introduces the leather accord. Then there's a bit about some IFF LMR, as in Laboratoire Monique Remy materials that are used here. So there's one called Saffiano leather. Saffiano is a molecule developed by IFF Research and Development, which provides powdery, slightly animalic notes of leather and suede. And apparently the cardamom, the pink peppercorn, the neroli, the petit grain, and the vetiver are LMR naturals, which is interesting too. Cloudy is saying, is desertic a word? No, I don't think it is. Let's read a little bit more. Neroli Nasimba opens with a note of juicy, citrusy mandarin. This citrus freshness is enhanced by a duo of cardamom and pink peppercorns, which lend the scent a vibrancy and luminosity reminiscent of the first rays of sunlight at dawn. At the heart, gosh, compare this with the Dolce & Gabbana press release. At the heart of the creation, orange blossom is explored in its many forms. The main ingredient here is neroli essential oil, which gives the fragrance a sparkling, orangey and zesty floral sweetness. Petit grain enhances the citrus note and adds a hint of crispness, while orange blossom absolute introduces a smooth, slightly animalic softness. The creation features base notes of Saffiano leather, which is an IFF captive, Cistus absolute, and vetiver. These notes are what make the fragrance so unique, emphasizing its luminosity with their leather-like, woody, amber qualities. And I think is that... Oh, and a little bit about the perfumer. So actually, let's read about him, because I don't know a huge amount about him. Paul has been fascinated by perfume since he was a child and grew up surrounded by the rarest fragrance notes which struck a particular chord in him. At one time, Paul flirted with the idea of becoming a lawyer. But eventually, Paul shut himself away and began discovering and experimenting with raw materials on his own. He felt his way through the fragrance world, committing every detail to memory. Paul sensed that his future was taking shape and made his dream a reality by signing on with IFF in New York. He worked as an assistant perfumer for 3 years, then studied under Anne Filippo. Imagine having her as a teacher for another 3 years. This extraordinary transmission of knowledge from teacher to student affirmed his decision and led him to become a perfumer. Most notably, this talented new creator has designed fragrances for Bastille, Rochas, and Jimmy Choo. And then there's a little bit of an interview with him, which I don't think we'll worry about reading. And that is that. So there we go. Gavin says, a duo is giving me K and Q press release flashback. Duo and duality is definitely a square on PR release bingo card. Yes, it is. Fosco says, I'm a little hesitant with leathers, although I'm not familiar with Saffiano. Well, I'm never, ever hesitant with leathers. Yeah, and it's the weird, bitter, indolic, dryness that makes this so appealing. It's like he really, really hasn't held back. Let's do some on skin, as it's the last one for this podcast. It's like he really, really hasn't held back with, it's one of those fine line perfumes, you know, because when it starts, it could almost be crass and cheap and vulgar, you know, like Tuscan leather, but it's not. It's it is on skin. The pepper comes out on skin. The metallic quality of the cooler spices like the cardamom. But having said all of that, I can just imagine a lot of you who, for instance, you know, just to pull one of the other ones out of the hat, who like the patchouli magnetic or the ombre chromatique, who might smell this and think, "Oh my goodness, what's he going on about? This is awful." They're all very, very clear in the expression of their idea, and they do not go for half measures. As I say, nothing wishy-washy at all. Pradeep says, "Is it cement pavement watery like some Neroli?" I never thought of that in relation to Neroli. Yes, maybe. Something stony and wet stone-like. And Petit Grain can do that as well, right? Petit Grain has got that kind of metallic quality as well. Is it at all similar to Hermès Eau de Neroli Doré? Oh gosh, that was the Jean-Claude Eleanor one when they also did the rhubarb with Christine Angel. Maybe that had, but of course that was a lot simpler, wasn't it? Because that was just a cologne. Petra says, "Is it arid?" That's a good word. I like that too. And that goes back to the desert descriptions. But it really, really reminds me. Do you know what I'm thinking of now? I'm thinking of, Sharon, gosh, thank you very, very much. Thank you for such an enjoyable chat, says Sharon, and for fostering an engaging perfume. Thank you. This is why I do these lives, because I learn so much more from you than you do from me. But now, wearing it, I'm taken back to original formulation Fahrenheit. Dior Fahrenheit with that almost hissy green leather note. If anybody else gets a sample of this, or if you smell it somewhere in a shop, spray it on skin. And if you're familiar with original Fahrenheit, let me know if you get the association too. And maybe that's why I was so taken with it originally. Gavin says, "I need to know what label that cardigan is." This, well, knowing me, I'm sure it's Zara, because Zara is one of the very, very few places that, you know, doesn't cost a complete arm and a leg, where some of us are still able to buy slightly more interesting clothes. Okay, I think we're done. We need to just have a very quick sniff of the blotters again. And here's the K, Dolce & Gabbana K. Kicking K needs to be kicked out. I think I've dropped the Q blotter, and I'm not going to go hunting for it now, but I will do a blotter update. Let's try the objets again. So this is the Oh Mon Dieu, which, yeah, see, I can't help smiling. It's cute. Cute is the word. This is the Coté Maquis. Yeah, that one's just an okay mineralic incense. This is the Bois Sauvage, which is just hard to work out, and I think that's why I find it fascinating. And then finally the Rose Noir, which is very, very definitely heading into patchouli territory now. And then let's just smell the Crivelli again. That's a good one. Okay, thank you very much for watching. As I say, if you're celebrating Easter, have a wonderful day tomorrow. And if you're not, to all of you, to every single one of you, wishes of good health and peace and happiness and prosperity, and hopefully lots and lots of opportunities to smell fantastic perfumes. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the questions, for the comments, for the super chats, for being so helpful. And I will see you again very soon. Take care now. Bye.